I want to start with something that sounds completely backwards. What if I told you that your first book should not be your best book? In fact, the entrepreneurs who spend 2 years trying to write one masterpiece are often outbeat by entrepreneurs who finish 5 short books solving 5 specific problems. Now, I have a question for you. How many of you have thought, one day I'll write my book, but that day never seems to come? That's almost everyone. Why? Because we've been taught that books have to be life stories. They have to be perfect. They have to be hundreds of pages. They have to take years of work. But what if that entire belief was wrong? And that's what we're here to prove today. So if that's true, then the real question becomes, what exactly have we been getting wrong about books? Look at the left side. This is how almost everyone thinks about books. They think they're creative projects or passion projects. They think they're life stories or that they are a 300-page masterpiece. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever looked at someone else's book and immediately thought, I could never do that? Most people have. And now look at the right side. What if your book wasn't art? What if your book was your best salesperson? What if it built trust while you slept? What if it generated leads before someone ever booked a call? That's completely different. Books aren't creative projects, they're business assets. And that's why people make money with some books. And other people simply own books. So far, does that distinction make sense? Now, if books really are assets, then we should see successful people using them that way. Let's remove another myth. People assume that successful books have to be enormous. But look at these. We have The Dip, Who Moved My Cheese, The One Thing. Even Alex Hormozi's book are incredibly focused. Notice something. They are not trying to solve every problem. They are solving one specific problem exceptionally well. And that's why people buy them. Here's something I want you to notice. No one ever finishes reading because a book is long. They finish because it's useful. And that's a completely different standard. Would you rather write 300 pages or write one book that people actually finish? So now the obvious questions become, how short can a book actually be? So now, I'm hoping that this slide saves you the most amount of time. Most authors think I need 300 pages. It needs to be perfect. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll publish. But successful entrepreneurs think completely different. They think one problem, 50 to 100 pages. Publish something this week and turn readers into clients. Notice something. The goal was never to become the next Harry Potter. Your goal is to become the obvious expert when someone searches the exact problem that you solve. And that's a much easier game to win. Imagine somebody finds your book this Friday. They read it on Saturday and books a call with you on Monday. And that's what we're actually building. So how does this actually happen? This is where everything starts to click. Let's walk through this together. Someone has a problem. They search on Amazon. And then your book appears. They read it, they trust you, they join your community, and they buy your course. Eventually, they hire you. Notice something? At no point did you chase them. Your book did all the work. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Books don't just generate royalties. They shorten the length of time it takes to build trust with your clients. And that's why entrepreneurs publish books. Not to become famous, they publish books to become discoverable. If someone could meet you and trust you and book a call without you even being there, would that be valuable to you? Now we get into the actual framework. This is the SOLVE framework. The first letter in SOLVE is search. And honestly, this is where most people make their first mistake. They sit down with a blank page and ask themselves, what should I write about? And that is the wrong question. Here's a better one. What are people already searching for? Because if people are already searching for the solution, you don't have to convince them they have a problem. And the market has already done that. Amazon is one of the biggest search engines in the world. Every day, millions of people Type in exactly what they're struggling with: dog training, budgeting, meal planning, ADHD, leadership, public speaking. They're literally telling you what they want help with. Now, here's a question. Would you rather spend 6 months convincing people that they have a problem, or solve one they already know that they have? Exactly. And that's why we search first. We don't invent demand. We discover it. The goal isn't creativity. The goal is certainty. If thousands of people are already searching for something, wouldn't it make sense to write about that instead of guessing? Now, once we know what people are searching for, there's another mistake almost every first-time author makes. I've never met someone who failed because they've solved too few problems. I've met hundreds of people who have failed because they tried solving too many problems. Think about your own bookshelf. When you buy a book, are you hoping it answers every single question you've ever had? Or did you buy it because you wanted one specific result? Exactly. The best books are incredibly narrow. One reader, one problem, one promise. Notice these examples: Hormozy, lead generation; Gary Keller, focus; Seth Godin, knowing when to quit. They aren't trying to become Wikipedia. They are solving one thing exceptionally well. And here's something I want you to remember. Confused people don't buy. Focused people do. Specificity builds trust. Have you ever landed on an Amazon page and instantly knew that's exactly what I need? That's what we're creating. So now we know what to write about. The next question becomes, how do we actually write it? This is the part where most people are usually excited about: AI. But I also want to be careful. AI isn't replacing your expertise. It's accelerating it. Think of AI like hiring the world's fastest assistant. It never gets tired, it never complains, but it only knows where to go if you give it directions. The better the prompt, the better the book. And that's why this course includes proven prompts. You're never staring at a blank page wondering where to begin. You describe your reader, their problem, their promise, and AI helps build the first draft in minutes. Not because AI is brilliant, because you're thinking it is. You're simply multiplying it. If AI could eliminate writer's block forever, would you use it? So once the manuscript exists, how do we turn it into a real book? Look at this slide. At first glance, publishing feels complicated. There's formatting, uploading, keywords, categories, covers, accounts. But watch what actually happens when we zoom out. It's actually just 4 steps. There's validate, create, format, and publish, one at a time. No step is particularly difficult. People are simply trying to do all 4 simultaneously, and we're going to remove that completely. First, you'll validate demand, then create, then format, then publish, and that's it. Simple beats complicated every time. Imagine you're finishing your manuscript in the morning, uploading it after lunch, and texting someone that evening, "I just became a published author." That's entirely possible. But here's the part that almost every publishing course misses. If your business ends with selling books, you're thinking too small. The book is only the beginning. Think about this. One chapter becomes a lead magnet. The lead magnet builds your email list. The email list joins your community, and your community buys your course. Some of those people become coaching clients. One idea, 5 assets, 1 afternoon, and you are using years of leverage. That's why I call books authority assets. They're not products, they're business infrastructure. They work whether you're teaching, whether you're sleeping, whether you're traveling, or spending time with your family, and that is leverage. Would you rather create content every day forever, or create one asset that keeps working? So before we finish this lesson, let's review what you've actually learned. Take a second to think back where you started. Maybe you thought, I don't know what book to write. Now you know something much more valuable. You don't need inspiration. You need validation. In the next lesson, we're going to remove the last big obstacle: choosing your book idea. No brainstorming, no guessing, no hoping. Instead, we'll use the AI Book Builder GPT to identify a profitable audience, an urgent problem, and a title people are already searching for by the end of that lesson. By the end of that lesson, you'll know exactly what book you're writing. Does that sound easier than sitting in front of a blank document, hoping that inspiration shows up? I've also included everything that you need inside the Module 1 downloads. There's the book success checklist, which will keep you on track from idea to publication. The one problem worksheet that will help you narrow your focus. The authority asset framework shows you how your book connects to your business, and the business asset map, which helps you see the bigger picture. And finally, I've included real Amazon success examples so that you can model what's already working instead of reinventing the wheel. Download these before moving on, and they're designed to help you save hours. Now, let's put everything that we've learned into action. This is where everything becomes real. The difference between people who publish and people who dream about publishing is clarity. In the next lesson, we're going to use the AI Book Builder GPT together, and by the end, you'll have one profitable audience, one urgent problem, one validated title, a subtitle, and a complete outline. Before you've written a single chapter, think about that. The hardest decision, the decision that keeps most people stuck for months, will be finished in lesson 1. That's why I'm so excited for what's next. I'll see you there.